Jason Gilbo here with Rob Mazika, taking a look at tonight's NBA slate. And if you're looking over on FanDuel, you get the 2, 10, 30 games. If you're looking on DraftKings, they've been doing this lately where they're not including those. Do you have a preference? Do you like it given the fact that it's late in the season, they take away these games, or do you wish they were there?
I like it, especially the fact just because it's shorter slates, and I typically do better in the shorter slates. 5, 6 games are really good. FanDuel, I just can't play FanDuel lately just with the way their pricing is. It's too cheap. But, it's good for the end of the season where we waiting on all these resting news and crap.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I do like that aspect of it. And there are a lot of guys that we'll talk about where it's basically there's a lot of FanDuel only plays because of their price tags.
Yeah, definitely.
So jumping into the first one here, you got Milwaukee and Charlotte. This game, on DK, I feel like is a little bit more playable because of the shorter slate. I'm not really looking at anyone here on FanDuel, though.
Yeah, I'm not really looking at anyone on FanDuel for this game just because you don't have to. But on DraftKings, it's playable with their 6-game slate. We got Giannis going up against Charlotte, and he's going to have Michael Kidd-Gilchrist defending him. But I don't think Kidd-Gilchrist has the size and length to keep up with him.
I don't either. I like him all. One, he torched Charlotte earlier this season. 9,700, not a bad price, and we've finally seen that upside. He's had 260-plus games in the last 3.
Yeah, he's a good tournament play if you don't want to pay up for Harden or some of the other high-priced guys. Another player I like in this game is I do like Kidd-Gilchrist on the other side just because he's had a huge game against him last time as well.
Yeah, Kidd-Gilchrist is always a decent option. Milwaukee does struggle against the wings. And Kidd-Gilchrist is one of those guys, really outside the Cleveland game, he's been just kind of a guy who's going to get you around that 20 to 30 mark.
Yeah, he is. And then you had some interest in Greg Monroe?
Yeah, I like Monroe in GPPs as always. I like targeting guys against his Charlotte front court. That's 20th in rebounding. They've been trending downwards in that direction. Monroe's just always a guy who, if he gets the minutes or not. Last time out against Charlotte, 14, 10, and 3 with 3 blocks and a steal. So 5,200, I like that upside there. Monroe's a pretty high usage guy in the front court as well.
I like it for tournaments as well. It's tough to predict him with those minutes. I also like the other side, Cody Zeller, if you want a safer option. He just consistently gets you around the 25, 30 fantasy point mark. And the last 2 games, he's really been hitting, crushing his value. Yeah,
Zeller's definitely the safer side of that one just with minutes. 32, 32, 29 in the last 3. And as you said, he's absolutely crushing it. And the defensive stats have been there. 7 steals in the last 3 games.
Yeah, they have been. If that keeps up, it's a nice play.
What about the Charlotte backcourt? I don't have a ton of interest in Walker or Batum tonight.
It's just tough against Milwaukee. They do a good job at shutting down the backcourt for fantasy purposes.
Yeah, they do. Minnesota, Indiana, next one here. The centers against Indiana and a guy like Towns, I feel like it's a night where you can certainly get a lot of upside. And the fact that the 2 late games are dropped off, Towns becomes a really premium play.
He does. Last time they played, he had 33 and 10. Indiana's bottom 5 rebounding team in the league. 10 rebounds was a low amount for him. I think he can get 15 in this game potentially.
Yeah, I do too. The upside's really there in this one. Paul George, tough matchup on paper, but this guy's been playing really well, and 8,400 is not that bad of a price.
He has been. He's been really carrying this load on offense. Last game out, his shot was off, but he came close to his value. But when he's been shooting the ball well, shooting the ball a lot, and really been crushing it.
Yeah, the usage has really been there. You look, prior games. Utah's a tough matchup, 44 DK points there. I don't mind him, especially in kind of a game stack type thing.
I don't mind him either. It's just going to be tough to fit him in with this Golden State and Rockets game later.
Yeah, and if you're looking for salary relief, a guy that you pointed out, Chris Dunn, barely above bare minimum over this game. 3,300, but absolutely crushing it the last 2 games.
He has been. He's been stealing minutes from Tyus Jones and Shabazz Muhammad. Last 3 games above 20 minutes. I see that trend continuing for the rest of the season as they try to get these young guys going a little bit. And he's just a great salary saver and really a perfect matchup too.
Yeah, he's a cheaper point guard. You still like Rubio here?
I do, but I just don't think we need to go there tonight.
The price is a little bit up there more than I'd like it to be. He has been playing really well, but he's starting to enter a price tier where I need him to start hitting a mark every night. And, he's certainly worthy of doing that, but it's not as a consistent mark as I'd like.
I agree, but Teague on the other side, he's in a great matchup. Rubio's not the best defender, and he's been crushing it as well.
Yeah, I like T quite a bit. Those are probably the only two Pacers options that I do like, Teague and George. I mean, Miles Turner has been playing well. I don't exactly like him on this slate, though.
Same here. There's other better options at center.
Miami Detroit next one. This is probably the worst game on the slate for fantasy purposes. I mean, the only guy that I was really looking at is James Johnson. Has played really well with waiters out because he does get a little bit of a bump in usage, and he's that high ceiling, high energy guy that you can get out of him every night.
He is. I'm not a fan of this game either, though. We got Detroit coming off a back-to-back playing the Knicks last night where Reggie Jackson rested. So I'm thinking potentially he's going to get a full run and Ish Smith less minutes tonight, which could put him in the tournament play, but that's nothing more than a deep tournament shot.
Yeah, I mean, that one's been tricky to figure out. Curious to see how that one kind of opens up. Whiteside was the guy that you mentioned, A200. I like targeting centers against Drummond because, one, they always draw lower ownership, and he's not that great of a defender.
Yeah, he's a tournament option only for me, though, just because if I'm paying that much, I might as well just find the extra 2K for Towns or just go down to 65 to Brook Lopez, who's in a better spot. But it's definitely a nice tournament play just because Whiteside, he could get a 20-20 game at any time.
You could, and I mean, Dragic, another high usage guy, but he's battling a foot injury. I mean, there was news that came out. I'm kind of staying away for the meantime. He's looked a little bit off for the last few games.
I am too. He has looked off.
So, Philly and Brooklyn. Here we go. I mean, two of the worst teams in the NBA, but this is probably one of the better fantasy games to target.
Yeah, just play everyone. Everyone except Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin's way too expensive. But everyone else in this game, they're just all good values. No one's really overpriced. Maybe Ronnie Hollis-Jefferson a little bit. But just all around, this is going to be fantasy goodness everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, Hollis Jefferson was one of the guys I was going to mention as being a site dependent for salary. I mean, he's only 4,700. He's small forward eligible on FanDuel. He's more playable there for me than on DraftKings at 5'2" and being a power forward. Jahlil Okafor, questionable, probably more on the doubtful side. Holmes and Long are the only two viable centers right now for Philly, and they're playing really well.
I like Long a lot. He reminds me a little of Hernan Gomez with his high fantasy point per minute, only getting 20 minutes a night type thing, but he could score 40 fantasy points in 25 minutes, and especially against Brooklyn.
Yeah, 17 rebounds over the last two games. Playing really well as far as the fantasy points per minute thing, and 23-19 at 4,200 on DK, and once again, where you can roster two centers, he's very playable there.
I agree. And another cheap point guard, like Chris Dunn, is Sergio Rodriguez. His last couple of games, he's had over 25 fantasy points. He's picked up the scoring a little more. And matchup against Brooklyn, we already know point guards against Brooklyn is a thing. And it's a nice tournament pivot if you don't want to use McConnell.
Yeah, and we look, and McConnell's been up and down. We've seen Sergio have a couple of big games as well. Yeah, I definitely like him on DK at 3,500.
Yeah, tournaments only, though.
So, as far as kind of the mid-range guys, I mean, Covington, Lopez, Saric, Holmes, I mean, I still think they're all viable even at heightened price tags.
They're all in play for me. Brook Lopez is my favorite specifically just because he's crushed Philly throughout his career, and I've been using centers against Philly a lot lately, including Miles Turner the other night. And they really, without Okafor, it's just Holmes and Long, and they really can't stop a guy like Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, and I would actually probably say with Okafor in, Lopez would get a bump just because Okafor's horrendous defense.
Yeah, so centers against the Sixers is a thing for these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, this season, to be honest.
Yep.
Phoenix and Atlanta, next one here. You and I kind of had a different approach on this one. You were looking more Atlanta to blow this one out. I kind of think Millsap being out affects it a little bit. Atlanta hasn't been great, and I think this game is a little bit more playable.
It does. I think it's just going to blow out. I mean, it might not, obviously. We haven't seen what Vegas said yet. But I think it'll blow out just because it's playing in Atlanta. Phoenix, they're in tank mode. If Devin Booker's not scoring 70, it's not staying close. There's one guy in Atlanta who I'm looking at regardless of the score, and that's Taurean Prince. Because Millsap's out, Cephalosha's out, Bazemore's out. Prince is going to be starting, probably going to see 35-plus minutes, and he's just over min price on FanDuel.
Yeah, good punt play there. I definitely don't mind him, and I feel like Atlanta is a lot more playable over on FanDuel. Ilyasova, 6K on DraftKings, the price tag's way too high for me there. But on FanDuel, I mean, 4,800 where the price hasn't come up, you can continue to use him. And, I do like Schroeder. I do like Howard in GPPs tonight, but I think Ulis on FanDuel at 6K is a really nice price tag just because I do like targeting point guards against Schroeder.
Yeah, if you think it's going to stay close, pretty much Schroeder, Howard, Ulis, Warren, they're all in play. It's just a matter if you think it's going to stay close or not.
I mean, I guess I don't have the issue with Ulis just because he's going to play minutes regardless. I mean, 41, 34, 45, 42, 43, 40 over the last 5 games. The depth is just not really there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they're in total tank mode and just using their young guys at this point.
Golden State Houston, last game on the DraftKings slate. This is a big one. Kind of curious to see how this one plays out. The Ryan Anderson injury for 2 weeks, I mean, that definitely gives a higher ceiling to guys like Gordon, Ariza, and Lou Williams as well.
Yeah, we saw it on Sunday. Ariza with a huge game, 50 DraftKings points, doing pretty much everything, scoring 24 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and a block. And then Lou Williams picked it up too with the scoring. And pretty much with Anderson out, there's shots to go around, there's minutes to go around. And besides Harden, who's going to carry this offense, he needs some help.
I don't think we see 31 minutes from Lou Williams in this one. I still think it's going to be a little bit more on Ariza and Gordon as far as safety, because basically if Lou Williams, if the shot's not dropping, we've seen him kind of take a little bit of a back road and kind of hit the bench for a longer period of time.
We have. Gordon's probably the safest out of the bunch, followed by Ariza, who has a lot of upside, as we saw, and then Lou Williams, who's got the lowest floor, but he also has a really high upside as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, dude shot 7 of 8 from 3. We all know he can get hot like that. On the Golden State side of things, Andre Iguodala, this is a guy, I mean, we saw the upside last time out. I don't think we get that a lot going down the stretch here. Probably just more of a game stack type play than anything.
I think so too. I mean, 20.7 rebounds, 4 assists against Memphis is a great line. It's just, I don't see that again coming out of him.
No, I don't either. I mean, as far as the rest of these guys, I don't mind Draymond Green at a decent price tag. The rest of the guys, though, I mean, it's kind of hard for them to hit their mark right now with how spread out everything is.
It is. I'm about to say something that's kind of crazy, but I love this game as a tournament fade as a whole. If there's a possibility where everyone just gets 4 or 5 extra value and the score is 130 to 120, and if you have other guys, other values in other games, it's a great game theory play.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think the Stars are certainly a worthy fade. I mean, I might have a share as far as the secondary plays go, but I'm definitely in agreement.
Yeah, it's just a tournament strategy only.
Yeah, because I mean, we've seen that before. I mean, we saw that with the OKC game numerous times over the last week or so, where if you faded it, I mean, it turned out okay.
Yeah, like you don't always have to play in these games with the way these players are priced up, but sometimes it will burn you as well.
Yeah, I mean, with those guys at their price tags and how spread out things are, you definitely want more, especially with given how high, slate scores are.
Yeah, for real.
Moving over to the FanDuel only here. We can talk about them on DraftKings as well, but Denver, Portland, 10 o'clock game. We get a little bit of a revenge game. Not a little bit. We get a big revenge game here for Nurkic.
I think he's going to come out guns blazing.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I mean, one, he's been playing really well, really consistent. And this is a guy, I mean, across the categories is just electric.
Yeah, I like this game. It's one of the best games of the night. I mean, as long as Denver keeps it close, they got blown out the other night against New Orleans, which was actually a little shocking to me. But I like Jokic. I like Nurkic, Lillard, pretty much everyone up in that top tier.
Yeah, I like Lillard a lot. I mean, one great matchup against Denver. He's been carrying this team down the stretch, and then basically between these two teams being 8 and 9 in the West, I mean, this is basically a playoff game.
Yeah, it's a very big game for both teams. So, like, all the stars are going to come to play.
Yeah. As far as the Denver side, I mean, we get a little bit of a crowded court here, but Gallinari and Chandler actually have been worthy of getting a look.
Yeah, like I said, the game blew out last time. That's why Gallinari only played 24 minutes. And Chandler, he only played 25. But if it stays close, they'll both get at least 35 minutes, probably around 30 to 35.
Yeah, I can see them being viable options. I like targeting that game. Portland's secondary players, I'm not really on though. I think it's just more Nurkic and Lillard at this point.
Same here for me.
Washington Lakers. This is a blowout concern tonight. Washington's a weird team for me because obviously I like the matchup, but the prices of guys like Beal and Wall, who have been really the only consistent guys, I'm a little bit worried about the price tags in a blowout.
I'm off this entire team. I haven't been using them for a while now. It's just all their prices are too high, and they really cut into the upside.
Yeah, I think the only one that I can maybe take a stab at is
Gortat.
I want to, but it's just like the price is low, but I just haven't seen anything really out of him in a long, long time. I mean, basically in about a month.
Yeah, that price on FanDuel, 4,800 is very tempting for him. It's just a great matchup as well, but we haven't seen anything of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just really a tournament team to target. The same thing kind of goes with Markieff Morris. We haven't really seen a ceiling out of him in quite some time either.
Yeah, same here. There's really no one on Washington who I really love. And on the Lakers, you can take a couple of shots on Russell, Clarkson, and Randall because they're being played at home. But if they don't have big games, it's not really going to stay close.
Yeah, I think Randall's probably my favorite just because Washington's weakest spot is against power forwards and Randall at home. Not a bad price tag either, but probably just a one-off shot at GPP at best.
Same here.
That's going to wrap things up. If you want to check out dailyfantasycafe.com, you can head over with our great tools and content.
Yep, good luck.